up, nerds? So we watched episode what was it? Of
Seven.
seven of Mandalorian. And Marlon, what are your thoughts on this episode? What did you think about it?
It's kind of boring.
Really? Oh, I loved it. It's so good. Oh, I loved it.
It's like they've been bringing us slowly up, and then this one just kind of.
You think? Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Hey, listen. Everybody's got their own opinion. I personally, I love the. It was like there was so much commentary, like subtext, that we're going to get into later in this episode. But I love this episode. What did you give it out of 10? At 1 out of 10?
5. It gets a 5.
Oh, 5. Wow.
It's just super average to me.
This was not my favorite episode compared to like the last episode and the ones before it, but this was definitely like a 7 or an 8. I'd give it an 8 for sure. It was so good. Like, okay. So let's just start off. They go to this junk planet to get Bill Burr's character Mayfield, and they pick him up. And I liked seeing the robot being all like, "Go with Gina Carano," who is now she was able to get him out because she's a marshal. I liked that. And I didn't. Did they say in the first season that he used to be an Imperial like officer or whatever he was, or a trooper?
Yeah, he was a sharpshooter or something like that.
Because I forgot that one, that they said that and everything. And as soon as they said it, I was like, oh, I should have went back and watched that episode, but I didn't. It didn't really matter. So then he says that to find out the location of Moff Gideon's ship, that they need to get he needs an Imperial terminal, and there's one at Mirak.
Yep.
There's also an Imperial finery and everything. And do you remember the name of the stuff they were refining?
Rhydonium.
Is that what it is? Rhydonium?
Yeah.
So they fly to Rhydonium, and let me just tell you right now, the whole time
Mirak. They fly to Mirak.
Mirak.
I will say this real quick. I do like that they cleaned up Boba Fett's armor. He looked polished. I like that.
Me too. I liked it a lot. Yeah, I agree. I liked that they cleaned up his armor. He looked good. He looked a lot better than the last episode he was on, where he, obviously, so he looked good, and I love seeing the Slave One. I loved it. I don't understand the logistics all 100% of Slave One. Like, it lands like this, but it flies like this. But I'm like, it doesn't matter. I love it anyway. So
the only thing I want to know is the seats that they sit in, like, because there's the cockpit, and then they sit. So I don't know. I would have to see a layout of the ship to really like.
Yeah. They have those books where you can see the cutaways of the ship and everything.
Yeah.
I own one if you ever want to see it. So then they go to this planet, and Mayfield tells them that they have to go into this base. They have to get into this base of the refinery. And Mando decides he's going to go with them because, Cara Dune can't go now because she's on the Republic, whatever. And, Fennec can't go. She can't go and everything. So he decides he's going to go, but he's going to dress up as a stormtrooper, therefore getting around the whole showing my face. Now, during the time that they're driving to get to the refinery, Bill Burr's character Mayfield is making a lot of jokes about the helmets and everything. And one thing that he did bring up that I thought was very, very good with the commentary was that, is it the helmet? You can't take off your helmet, or is it you just can't show your face? And I thought that was very, like, as soon as he said it, I was like, that is an excellent point, and a lot of points that a lot of people, like the fandom, is making. And I'm pretty sure that Pedro Pascal made that point too. Like, is it just I can't take off my helmet, or I can't show my face in this show? Mm-hmm. That's probably what the whole controversy was with him. Do you have?
Which, by the way, I would say it's I can't take off my helmet, because they say, if you go back to the first season, the armorer asks him if he's removed his helmet, and he says no, and she says, has anyone removed your helmet from you? And he says no. So I would say it's more or less the removal of the helmet than people seeing your face, which kind of walk hand in hand, don't they? I mean, if you never remove your helmet, they can't see your face.
Right on. I agree with that. Marlon, give me one more second.
Okay.
I'm sorry. My wife is texting me. Okay. Oh, no, I'm gonna have to edit the fuck out of this video. Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, for you. It's my fault though. I'm the one that wants to do this for my channel. Okay, so then they're on their way to the refinery and they just get into this huge Indiana Jones style fighting on top of that tank, which I personally loved it. I loved the ships flying in. The only thing I didn't like about it was the aliens, like their language was like it's like the chef from the Muppets.
Well, what I didn't get is they passed this village with seemingly human kids on it.
Right.
And then there are these weird alien things. Like, why didn't we see any of these alien kids in the village? Like, I don't get it.
Right on.
And I'm too nitpicky when I watch these shows because the whole time I'm watching the whole fight scene on the thing, I'm like, why don't, if the Rhydonium is so important, why aren't there guards on these things? And why aren't the TIE fighters escorting these shipments one at a time? You'd get a lot more shipments through if there was a TIE fighter escort and more guards like standing on top of the Rhydonium, the little carrier thing itself. Like, I don't get it.
No, that's an excellent point. You make an excellent point. So, and I liked how one of the aliens, how he like got hit off and he like hit the tire. He's like, ah, and everything. It was so good.
There was some funny parts in there too, like when Mando picks up the thermo detonator and he throws it out, and then they just kind of like they never saw a flame before, and then it blows them up. I'm like,
right on. And then so they get to the refinery and the TIE fighters come in and they blast and everything, and then the stormtroopers come out. And I love how when the stormtroopers are not facing a main character, they can hit everything. They can hit everybody and everything. But now when there's a main character involved, they cannot hit anyone.
No. And what is, like, at the bridge scene where all the stormtroopers come out, they have spears and stuff, and they're just running toward these guys with guns. Like,
right.
There's like 13 and 13 each side, and they're just running toward them like, we're gonna do this. And it's like, no, you would run into the woods and hide at this point, because all you got is a spear, and they've got blasters, and there are tons of them.
Right on. So then they get inside the base and everybody's cheering them on. And I found this part inside the base to be very interesting in more ways than one. I thought it was very interesting to see the side of the Empire. You know, they think that, you know, these people are working for the Empire and they're like, we're doing something for the greater good. We're bringing, you know, stability to the universe. We're bringing order, you know, and they were cheering them on like, hey, you guys did a good job working for these people.
Right.
And I liked that a lot. So then Mayfield notices Valen Hess, and I didn't write down the actor's name, but I do like this actor. He always plays like a bad guy or whatnot, but it was, hold on, I have it right here. He was played by, it doesn't even matter. Anyways, so then they show up, and Valen Hess, he goes to the terminal and he's like, I can't do it. And then Mando's all like, I'll do it for you. And he's like, you need to show your face. So then he gets to the terminal and he took his helmet off. I don't know about you, but I was very surprised by this.
I'm happy with, I like this stuff. Like, I was very surprised too. But yeah, Pedro Pascal's such a great actor. And so I actually would prefer they didn't have the little helmet rule, because you get to see an actor's face, their facial expressions, and you can, I think that a scene is conveyed better emotionally when you can see an actor's facial expressions along with the dialogue or the scene itself. So the whole Mando not taking his helmet off, it's kind of emotionless. So some scenes you just really don't get. You don't get the feels because you can't see how they're reacting on the inside.
Right on. So then Valen Hess is like, hey, I want to have a drink with you guys because you guys are the only shipment that came back. So then while they're having a drink, they're talking about Operation Cinder. Now, I don't know if you know what this is, but it's a part of the game Battlefronts 2, which also takes place on the side of a woman that is like a special agent for the Empire. It's pretty good. I mean, if you just go watch all the cutscenes on YouTube, that's all I did because I don't play video games. It's very good, and I thought it was good. And a lot of people were wondering if Operation Cinder was even still canon because Battlefront 2 came out after Disney had acquired Star Wars, I believe. So it would technically be considered canon. So he's talking about Operation Cinder, and I thought this was very good, like the commentary and the subtext that they were talking about with the Empire, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, you know, when you look at stuff like, and I think,
sorry,
it's cool. Hey, you remember in Wonder Woman? I know it might be hard for you because I know you don't like DC, but you remember in Wonder Woman when she goes, you know, generals. You're a coward because where I come from, generals are on the battlefield with their soldiers, so they know the impact that their decisions make. And I think that with this, it shows how, you know, blithely unaware what an officer in the Empire, his decisions, he doesn't care about the people on the ground who die.
Yeah, I think that's more of a moral, like your moral compass, though, in any battlefield. Like, I mean, if you talk to soldiers nowadays, like these, you know, generals, they stay in the back so they can assess the battlefield as it's going on. This guy just doesn't have a moral code, so he doesn't care how many soldiers die or who dies. He just wants the victory for himself or whatever. But I think if you're a commander leading people to their deaths, regardless of how many, you know, if you have to make a hard decision, you still feel bad that you had to lose soldiers in said decision.
Right on. And so, real quick to touch on Operation Cinder, it was basically like after the Empire had lost at Endor, they would go from like Imperial, they would go from planet to planet, like, and mostly like Empire ran planets, and they would just take these satellites and just shoot beams and destroy the planet. That's a rough estimate of it. You just go, if you're interested, go watch the cutscenes. It's actually really good. It's a good movie.
Just type in Operation Cinder on YouTube.
You could type in Battlefronts 2 cutscenes and you could watch the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So then while he's talking to that guy, to Valen Hess, he ends up shooting him, which I was like, good. I would have shot him too. He's a dick. But I did like how Mando kept looking at him and was like, no, don't shoot him.
Yeah.
Or don't do anything kind of thing. So they start shooting everybody in the mess hall. And he's all like, nobody saw your face kind of thing. And I thought when he said that line, when Mayfield said, nobody saw your face, I thought Mayfield was going to die. Because I was like, oh, that's how they're going to get around him taking his helmet off, because Mayfield is the only one that's going to survive this whole thing with him seeing his face. And I'm all like, he might die, which I was like, that's kind of a bummer because I like this character. So now, but he did survive at the end, which we'll talk about a little later. And so then they're getting out of there. There's the two ladies.
I'm going to be really nitpicky too about this whole fight scene. I think I found it very weird that that area when they came in, everybody's saluting them and like, yeah, you brought back another Idonium, good job, guys. And then as soon as they get in there, like nobody's coming in and congratulating them. The Hess guy already knew, like, you guys are the ones that brought in the Idonium. Like he didn't even get up from the table when they came in, and it was like what 30 meters away or less. So it's like. It was just a weird scene to me, and then up to where they shot them in the mess hall, there should have been like 5 million people rushing that room because there were just so many people like out there to begin with. But maybe I am too nitpicky for
Well,
that.
I'll give you a little bit of pushback. I don't think that most of those, I don't remember exactly, and I don't have it in front of me, but I think most of them were just like worker bees, not stormtroopers. And I mean, like, if you're a factory worker and there's somebody shooting, are you just going to run to, if you're a Rhydonium refiner, you're like, hey, let's run over here to this shooting.
I mean, I think that if you did look back on the scene, I think you would notice a lot more soldier type guys than you think you remember.
Right on. So then they get up to the roof and they jump onto the Slave One. Very cool. Then TIE fighters show up and they have a little bit of a dogfight kind of thing. And
No, it wasn't even a little bit of a dogfight. This is one thing that really dropped the episode for me, is because they had this super high action sequence where they bust out the window, which I was like, okay, that's a good escape plan. It's probably an older base, so maybe they can kick the window open. Excuse me. You got Cara Dune and the other lady like sniping the guys off as they come out the window. These stormtroopers are trying everything to kill these dudes. They get to the roof. They get on the Slave One, and all the Slave One does is drop one of those seismic charges.
Which I wrote down. I thought you would be happy about that. That seismic charge. You talked about it in the last episode, I think it was, about how you
I like the weaponry of the Slave One, but I was kind of when I saw the two TIE fighters like going after the Slave One, I thought for sure like, oh, we're gonna see some sweet Boba Fett like flying and just kicking their ass skills, like an actual dogfight. Like he's gonna flip the Slave One and go right at him, take one of them out, and swing her. Just a cool dogfight. But it didn't happen. It was just kind of like they just seismic charge, boom, done, over. Because I was just really hoping for like, because Mando, we saw him take out like 4 or 5 TIE fighters in the Razor Crest, and that ship is not even nearly as cool as the Slave One. So I'm like, man, I really would have liked to seen Boba Fett just take charge, take these TIE fighters out like it was nothing, with this sweet dogfight, but it didn't happen like that. So it's kind of, it's not that it was just kind of like, I was like, man, that was like a missed opportunity.
Gotcha. Right on. So then they release Mayfield, and they're like, Mayfield died on the mission and everything. So they released him, which I thought was cool because I do like Bill Burr, that character, and I like Bill Burr. I think he's actually a good actor, and I really do want to see him come back in future episodes. So I do hope that happens. Then we rush over to the Star Destroyer where Moff Gideon is on it, and he gets a hologram message from Mando. And he basically tells him, like, you don't know what this kid means to me, and he means more to me than he does you. I'm coming for him. And I thought that was great. I loved it. I love seeing that. And it just shows that you can have a really good episode of The Mandalorian without having Baby Yoda in it. Because that's my whole thing about, like, I love Baby Yoda, but I do think that they need to change some things up because it can't, from now on, it can't constantly be Mando and Baby Yoda. Like, there has to be some growth there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that they gave him the mission of save Baby Yoda. Yeah, and I liked him threatening Moff Gideon. Let him know, like, I'm coming for the kid. It was a good ending to, especially since at the beginning of the episode they kind of do a flashback of when Moff Gideon's like trying to get the kid from said desert planet. I don't remember what it's called, and he like pretty much repeats almost the same lines to him, like. So it's pretty good.
Right on. Yeah. No. So, for next week is the season finale.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited and everything. So before we talk about that, what is your favorite part of this episode? What was your favorite part?
I mean, even though I probably complained about it, probably just anything. I love ships. I love the Star Wars ship stuff. So I like the stuff with the Slave One. they just had quite a few missed opportunities, and I get like, I watched this episode like 4 times. So about the third or fourth time, I'm starting to get super nitpicky about everything. And then I remember what I'm nitpicky about. So, but I'd probably say, I don't know, anything with the Slave One in it. I don't know really. This was an average episode to me. It really wasn't that spectacular. I didn't dislike it. I didn't hate it. It's just kind of like, if I had to watch, I'd rather watch last week's episode than this week's.
Well, I do think last week's episode was better than this episode, but I did enjoy this episode. My favorite part was when Mayfield was talking to Val and Hess about that whole soldiers on the ground speech and everything. I thought that was really great.
Yeah.
So back to the season finale. What is it do you think is going to happen, and what are you looking forward to?
What do I think is going to happen? Well, I hope that the way that I'm thinking they're going to rescue Baby Yoda. It's going to be a big rescue, and it's going to be Slave One. And I'm hoping that they have and I can't think of her name, the other Mandalorians that they had before. What's her name? Gosh. The redhead chick with the bad wig on.
Oh, Bo-Katan.
Yeah, Bo-Katan. Thank you.
Sorry, it took me a minute.
I'm hoping that Bo-Katan, he hooks up with Bo-Katan early on in the episode, and she brings that Imperial ship in to land the Mandalorians onto their ship, and that's how they rescue Baby Yoda with all the other Mandalorians, and maybe Ahsoka Tano's in there. I doubt that though. And yeah, or you have the Jedi that Baby Yoda was calling for, like Ezra Bridger. I said Ezra Miller. Ezra Bridger shows up and gets on the ship, help save Baby Yoda. I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting.
Right on. Sorry, I'm just looking something us up for. I'm looking forward to that too. I hope that we get. I hope that I don't know if they'll bring back all the characters that were in this episode or this season, all the extra characters, but if they all did come back for that, like they did in season 1, where like all the team that he had developed over season 1 came back and helped him out in that last 2 episodes. That'd be great to help him get back Baby Yoda. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So that is our breakdown and review of Star Wars Season 2, Episode 7. Tell us, what did you guys think about this episode? Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? What was your favorite part? What was your least favorite part? Are you like Marlon, where you thought it was good, but it wasn't as exciting as previous episodes? Or are you like me, where I
just average?
Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. Marlon, you won't mind either.
I won't mind.
All right. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And we will see you next week on the season finale of The Mandalorian. You guys have a good week. Bye.